pleasure of being at a very awesome Great Western Lodge meeting. So that was really fun, but now we're here. So please take a moment, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and let's see who's going to join. Any thoughts you have on Freemasonry, positive, negative, or neutral, let me know. Let's give it a few. Hit the like button, comment, subscribe. Keep in mind, it's going to be, hello, your local Spurs. It's going to be a very busy next few days. So I'll promise I will get to mobile streaming, but it might not be at the same time that I usually do. Good. I'm glad you've been busy. I mean, when I say that, I hope it's been good busy. Busy is one of those things that can be good, it can be not so good. So I'm going to keep my fingers crossed for you that it's been good busy. So not so good busy. See, what I find is when people say they're really busy, it's either really good or really bad, or sometimes both. It can be a period of massive growth where, you know, you can actually be making a lot of success, but because you're so busy getting the success, you don't enjoy it. Oh, well, happy birthday, and I'm very sorry you had to go to a funeral. That's definitely a best of times, worst of times situation. You had practice, though, but at least that's good. I don't know if you enjoy practice or not. What type of practice were you doing? So two practices. Were each 3 hours long, or it was 1.5 hours for each? Oh, so Joe, so just football. Okay, I thought you meant you went from basketball to football all like one day, basketball practice first, then football practice. Both are though incredibly tough. Like you must be a great athlete if you can do both football and basketball practice. Nothing but respect for that. I got my awesome pink sweater on, Winnipeg. All right, let's give it a bit more time. Let's wait to see who joins. As always, please take a moment. Hit that like button, hit the subscribe button. Any thoughts on Freemasonry? Holy cow, Brett. That is awesome. I have no idea if that's worth any money or not, but if it is, then good for you. I don't know if you if you collect pennies or you collect coins, it might be worth a fair bit. You should check it out. But that is awesome. Congratulations. Hey, that's okay. I'm a little bit bigger as well. But I'm still a pretty decent athlete, I like to think. This is a Masonic sweater that says Winnipeg because I'm from Winnipeg, born and raised, and I love Winnipeg. In my opinion, it's my home. It's where I grew up. One of the best cities in the world. And also, I love the color pink. Pink is my favorite color. So, and if you think that men can't love the color pink, I point you to your friend and mine, Brett the Hitman Hart. Hello, Elbow Man. Welcome. Thanks for being here. Please hit like and subscribe. Hello, Soccer, Venus, Jeffrey. This stream is about Freemasonry. I started Square Income's promotions to promote the ways Freemasonry was and is relevant to the communities in which it is located. And love doing it. It's a blast. Uh, I also have interviews with people. We talk about Freemasonry. We talk about other things as well. It's a lot of fun. No, Freemasons are brothers to each other. Now, if there happens to be Masons in Israel, then they would be brothers with those Masons in Israel, I suppose. But we're not brothers to a political entity or a country. That's not how it works. Well, it's a good thing you said personal beliefs because Freemasons have no doctrines about this stuff, right? My personal beliefs, and this is me speaking personally, is that Jesus was a real historical figure, right? Literal historical figure who existed from about 0 to 33 AD. I think he was a teacher, but I don't believe in the supernatural. But I don't believe in any supernatural of any religion, be it Christian, Judaism, the Muslim faith. I'm one who's very skeptical of supernatural. I'm been way above 33 likes altogether, so that's a good thing. Bret Hart's incredible, Jesse. Bret Hart is one of the greatest professional wrestlers of all time, without question. He was for a long time my favorite professional wrestler of all time, and then it switched over to John Cena. We couldn't accept APAC contributions because Freemasonry is not a political entity. We're not politics. APAC is a lobbying group. You clearly don't understand what Freemasonry is. Green Man, Freemasonry is not political, nor is it religious, nor does it really accept contributions in that sense. There are Masonic charitable organizations that are charity and will accept donations, but those are usually and very often in like the medical field. Like Masonic Charities Foundation of England is a really good example of that. Um, Jeffrey, I mean, Freemasons are very aware of me. Some like me, some don't like me, but there you go. No, my current hoodie is celebrating Winnipeg, Manitoba, the city of my birth. So if you don't like me, blame Manitoba. Blame Winnipeg, in fact. It's Winnipeg's fault. You could join Freemasonry if you're gay or straight. I know gay Freemasons. I mean, seamless. I can't really answer that question. I have to like the Jets. I'm from Winnipeg. I mean, seamless. You're an adult. You have to decide for yourself. I can't tell you whether you should join or not. I also don't know enough about you. I would say if you find Freemasonry interesting, or if you find the idea of joining something like Freemasonry interesting, then what you should do is approach a local lodge in your area and ask to learn more about it. Don't ask if you should join or not, though, because that's not something anybody can tell you, right? That is something you have to decide for yourself. And, don't rush it. Get to know Freemasonry, get to know more about Freemasonry, go from there. Oh, Chicago Dayfly. I love Chicago. Literally, I think Chicago is the greatest city in the world. Chicago Dayfly, please hit like, please hit subscribe. I would be grateful, especially have somebody from Chicago subscribing to the channel. I've got a lot of content about and from Chicago because I've done a lot of Masonic visits there, and I'm grateful for it. Water creature, big ups to you as well. I don't know what the 6 is, but welcome nonetheless. Please hit like and subscribe. Seamless, please hit like and subscribe. Hey, joining the Moose Lodge, no, nothing but respect for the Moose. Also a wonderful organization, a wonderful civic organization, and you should absolutely join the Moose. I like Chicago's architecture and skyline as well. I think it's incredible. So, no, I don't think anybody can knock Chicago. I mean, I would like to think I would be there for anybody if they needed help, but certainly I would do my best to be there for a brother if he needed help. Um, I took first aid and psychological first aid for that very reason. Thank you. Where in Chicago are you from? When I travel to Chicago, Normally, I actually don't stay in Chicago proper. I stay in Glenview, which is a village north of Chicago. But it's one of my favorite places to be. And then I'll spend the day taking the Metro, Milwaukee District North, usually, or maybe I'll take the Pace bus, the 420, to Jefferson, and then take the Blue Line, and then be downtown. Awesome. Moose is incredible. You want to see my Masonic apron? Do we even have a Masonic apron here? Hold on just one sec. Actually, here, I'll show you one of my favorite aprons. If I can get it now. Here, this is my favorite Masonic apron as a souvenir. I got this in Puerto Vallarta when I was visiting beautiful Mexico, beautiful Puerto Vallarta. It's incredible. I did get a new haircut. I need to be more aerodynamic. You know, actually, I did this because I got wrestling coming up, and I need to be clean shaven to be a referee. So there you go. Need to look good. Ghost Dragon, please hit like and subscribe. Any thoughts you have on Freemasonry, let me know. Everybody else watching this, same thing. Let's see if we can't get to over 4,000 subs. Would be much obliged. Awesome. Puerto Vallarta is an incredible place. Still, cut off the caps sheep. It's too much. But I love Puerto Vallarta. I know many people have. I know a lot of people have condos in Puerto Vallarta. No, 14 words. He was not. I'm not a fan of that name either. Epstein was not a Freemason. Yeah, I was going to say I was born in a wheelchair, but obviously that's not the case. I was born missing my legs. Started using a wheelchair relatively young. I had artificial limbs at first, but switched over to a wheelchair. 14 words, because if I recall correctly, unless I'm getting that incorrect. Yeah, 14 words is a reference to David Eden Lane. A phrase associated with white supremacy. Now, I don't know if you said 14 words to reference that in particular. However, I believe in respect for, I don't believe the future should belong to any one group or race or creed. I think it belongs to all of us. And I think our goal should be the preservation of the human race, not any specific subset of that. Well, you should pick a better name, one that reflects better on humanity and yourself. I know people from Israel. I don't think they're interested in a race, in a future in which there's a single group. Now, every group and organization has, I guess, supremacists in it. And I don't like supremacy of any sort. We're all humans. We're all equal. We should remember that. And again, some may, Joey 578, but I know many who do not. I'm happy being me. Why do I need to get robot legs? Why can't I just be me? No, they are not. I would say they are the worst 14 words in the English language. Hello, Jason. I mean, what Freemasonry says is, the internal, not external. So whatever race you are, creed, religion, ethnicity, whatever language you speak, you are welcome in a Masonic lodge, as you should be. You all can be a brother. Freemasonry doesn't have leaders in the way you think. There is no single governing body that is quote unquote leading Freemasonry. That's not how it works, right? Freemasonry is a decentralized organization. There are many Masonic lodges in Europe. I was just at a few in England and Scotland, so that was really, really cool. I don't know any firsthand, but I know there are some in Switzerland. Absolutely. Not sure who that is. Not sure who Scott Walter is. Joey, the most common misconception about Freemasonry by far and away is that there is a single Masonic governing body that is controlling Freemasonry. That's not how it works. Freemasonry is decentralized. So there's no global Masonic order, no New World Order about Freemasonry. Rather, every Masonic lodge is under a local jurisdiction. It can be country by country, state by state, province by province. Another common misconception, Freemasonry is a Jewish creation. It's not. It is a creation of stone Masonic guilds in the Middle Ages. Hello, Caroline. Thank you for being here. I will for sure. Caroline, please hit like and subscribe if you're not done so. Joey, like and subscribe. Even 14 words, despite the fact that I think your name shows a very poor lack of judgment or a very poor type of judgment. Nonetheless, I still hope you hit the subscribe button. And we're not under the control of the reptilians as well. Nice. I'll check them out for sure, Stephen. Ask away, White King 8877. That's a name. And we're just going to wait, hang out. These 1 a.m. streams don't have any specific topics. We just hang out, chat about whatever. Oh, I mean, just if you search on Google Switzerland Masonry, let me see. So there's the Grand Lodge Alpina of Switzerland, which is the oldest and only regular Grand Lodge. So you need to look up the Grand Lodge Alpina of Switzerland, and they should be able to get you in touch with a contact. I don't know what glass means, but nonetheless. It is wrong for any country, I think, to wish to enforce some type of racial purity test. I don't believe in that. Now, having said that, every country can also do what it wants, and it's not my place to tell a country what it can or can't do, but I think it's better for every country to view the future of the world as one in which everybody prospers, not a particular group prospers. I have no interest in living in a future in which Canada is doing great if every other country is falling apart. I'd like the world and humanity to prosper as one, relatively speaking. There's always going to be challenges in terms of you're never going to get to a point where everybody is growing completely at an equal pace. However, I do think we can make it so everybody does prosper at their own pace if we don't focus on racial and ethnic divisions. I don't want to look out for my own. I want to look out for everybody. I don't care about looking out for my own. My own is humanity. My brothers come from all different walks of life, all different races, all different ethnicities, and that's just how it is. And definitely not, I don't like that term infiltration. I mean, Jewish people can be members of Congress, presidents, prime ministers, senators, citizens, brothers, friends, you know. The idea that they're infiltrating is some baloney. I'm not a fan of that term. All right, 14 words. You are not a good person, clearly, but all right. I don't know what's truly established, but okay. I feel like I'm missing stuff in the stream. A bunch of strange people. But you think Jewish people... Well, I mean, the idea of who is or is not God's chosen people. I mean, I have no interest in discussing that at all because I'm not a theological expert. I can't speak to that. What I can say is I'm interested in simply respecting everybody equally. And I'll leave the theological discussions to the theologians. I know what established means, and I know who established Freemasonry, which was, in point of fact, the stone Masonic guilds of the Middle Ages. I wouldn't call anybody the chosen people of God, but that's because I'm not a theological expert, right? But I would not call anybody that. I think that is a reference, though, to something in the Bible, where I think it was in Genesis, right? The idea of the Abrams, or whatever it is, or Abraham, giving a plot of land, but I don't know the specifics of it. I'm not a Christian, so I can't really say. I guess what I can say is I would like to think that within Freemasonry, one of the ethics I've learned and I'm grateful for is the idea that I don't care whether you're Jewish, whether you're Christian, whether you're Muslim, whether you're Hindu, whether you're Sikh, you know, you can be and are my brother, you can be and are my fellow citizen, my friend, my fellow human, and I want the best for you. Well, I mean, I guess, Captain Blackbird, that seems like a very bad life to live. If you're caring about the race, religion, or ethnicity of the people around you, that does not seem like a fun way to live to me. Christians are Masons. Yeah, I mean, Freemason does not discriminate based on one's religious beliefs. So I know many Christian Freemasons and Jewish and Muslim and everything else. To be a Freemason, you must believe in a supreme being. Certainly, I think Christians would qualify for that, but there is no, like, there's no prescribed supreme being. So if you're Christian or Muslim or Jewish, all of that counts. So there are women Freemasons, Frank. There's the Order of Women Freemasons out of England. There's also Eastern Star, which is a Masonic group for men and women, and there's Rainbow. There's also co-masonry out of France, but it's not recognized everywhere. But you're still here, water creature, so I think the better question is, who is more dumb, the person speaking or the person listening to the person speaking? Eastern Star, absolutely. Founded out of Mississippi, Missouri, I always forget where. Well, I mean, any woman can be a Freemason, or any, I don't really understand your question, Frank. I mean, if you're joining quote unquote AF and AM Freemasonry, ancient, free, and accepted, then you have to be a man. But if you're joining the Order of Women Freemasons, then you have to be a woman. Eastern Star it's not witchcraft. Eastern Star does not practice witchcraft. There is nothing about Eastern Star that is related to witchcraft. So you are incorrect. Rainbow, International Order of Rainbow, is a Masonic youth group for young women. If I recall correctly, the ages are 11 to 21, I think, but I could be getting those ages mistaken. Forgive me if I am. I can skip whatever comments I want. Well, I have no problem with it unless they start to attack me, for example, then I might. But, you know, what concerns me is just the future of humanity, not the future of specific groups. Who's openly declaring? I mean, Freemasonry is not Luciferian, so I'm not sure who's declaring themselves as such. So Freemasonry is not a cult, Frank, and it's not a cult for a variety of reasons, but I'll give you the main three. First, it does not separate individuals or isolate individuals from their family, their friends, their civic, their religious, or their familial responsibilities. It does not venerate individuals. It does not require unquestioning loyalty in dogma or membership or an individual. It is democratic. For those reasons, it is not a cult. Well, I don't think, and now we're getting White King into super nuanced terms. I don't think when a Jewish person, and by the way, I've never actually heard a Jewish person say this, and I've known Jewish people. No one ever said to me, I'm one of God's chosen people. I would find that kind of strange if they went around saying that. But I think that when it's discussed as being, they're not saying they're superior to other people. They're saying there is a scripture which says in both the Bible and the Torah, I think in Genesis, that they were chosen by God. Now, I think that's just a fact of literature, a fact of the Bible that it says that. But if you're not one who follows that religion, then you're not necessarily going to believe it. Well, but Stephen, that's like saying, is every plumber bad? No. Are some of them bad? Yes. Is every football player bad? No. Some of them are yes. Um, yeah, human nature, unfortunately, is a stubborn nature. And what that means is it's very hard to, you're never going to have people are just imperfect by nature. That includes Freemasons. But we try our best. I mean, we're getting into super religious territory, and I'm not an expert. I'm not one who can talk about religion very well, only very simply. It's one of those things where I want to be more conversant in religion because I want to be able to talk to people about their religious beliefs. Because I could be sitting in a Masonic lodge next to a Muslim, a Hindu, a Sikh, whatever it might be, a Christian. I want to be able to talk to them about the Bible or the Torah or whatever it might be. But the Torah, 75% of the entire Bible and the New Testament. I mean, I think that's true. I wouldn't be able to say for sure. I'd have to go through the because I think it's a little bit more like I don't think every part of the Old Testament is the Torah, right? I think there's books that are part of the Old Testament that are not included in the Torah, if I recall correctly. I don't know the numbers, but I think those numbers might be a little bit incorrect. So no, Stephen, the Masons are not a low tier group that higher groups recruit from. Freemasonry is not a recruitment scheme. It's not a pyramid scheme. If you're looking to join Freemasonry because you want to get into some higher group, you're going to be very, very, very disappointed. That's not what Freemasonry is about. That's not what Freemasonry is for. So you need to reconsider. All right, White. Oops, we're just going to. You will have a better life somewhere else. So I'm not one who believes in the supernatural. I mean, I believe that it's real in the sense that people believe it and will practice it, but I don't believe it actually has any effect. I'm not one who believes in the supernatural. Apparently, somehow it has, which I definitely did not intend nor want it to be. I don't think you can say witchcraft is real is a fact. I think you can say people believe it's real. I think you can say people practice it, but real as in what sense? Real as in people believe it, or real as in you can cast a spell on somebody and, mess them up. The former, I believe, the latter, not so much. But I don't think you're being disrespectful, Stephen. I mean, we're here to talk about Freemasonry. Every Freemason will have a belief in a supreme being. Some may believe in Christianity, others other faiths. I do hope, though, you'll hit the like button and the subscribe button. I'm going to call you GR Pascal. Well, I'm saying every person is free to believe whatever they want and to follow whatever religion they so choose. And I suppose one of them might be right and the rest might be wrong, or maybe they're all right in a certain way. I don't know. I guess I won't find out till I'm into the next world. You don't have, I mean, it's weird to be asked to join. We shouldn't really be doing that because that sounds a little bit like recruiting. I would never ask somebody to join, but I would say, like, if you're interested in learning more about Freemasonry, come by the Masonic Lodge for a coffee, something like that. Um, I mean, I've known Tintin, I've known Wiccan, Wiccan Freemasons who would say the same thing. It's just not something I ascribe to. Again, other than I'm sure that, some of the practices can provide spiritual benefits, make people feel better. I don't believe they will have any effect on others. Um, and no, you definitely don't need to throw morals or family aside to be a Freemason. In fact, completely the opposite. Being a Freemason, you are encouraged to put your family first, put your family ahead of Freemasonry, and there's nothing in Freemason that would be against one's morals. Well, so, I mean, it's like a Jewish or a Christian or a Muslim Freemason, right? It's just their supreme being they believed in, they were of the Wiccan faith, which is, I guess, a type of almost paganism, I think you could describe it as. Um, yeah, I don't believe in the supernatural. I'm a Freemason because I do believe in a supreme being. My supreme being is the rational nature of the universe, as expressed through geometry and science, but I don't believe in the supernatural. There is no top, Stephen, within Freemasonry. That's not how it works, right? There are a variety of top positions, but those are decentralized. For example, in Ontario, the highest you can go is the Grand Lodge of Canada. Sorry, the Grand Lodge of Canada in the province of Ontario. They set rules exclusively for Ontario. Um, you can't get any more than that. However, they don't set rules for Masons in Manitoba. They don't set rules for Masons in Texas. Texas has a different Grand Lodge with its own hierarchy. So does Minnesota. Um, well, if the CIA is watching me, they must be incredibly bored. No, to be a Freemason is not a paid position. One of the reasons why I started this channel is to try to turn my passion for Freemasonry into a profession. So if you want to help me do that, you'll hit that like button, you'll hit that subscribe button, and you'll let me know how you're doing. All right, Stephen. Once again, there is no top inside or outside the lodge. That's not how it works. But if that's what you believe, that's no troubles, right? I mean, all I can say is I've been a Freemason for 20 years. I've traveled around the world for Freemasonry. What you're saying does not make a lot of sense to me. I never heard of that until I started this channel, and then suddenly everybody kept telling me about that thing. It doesn't exist within Freemasonry, at least I've never seen it or heard of it. No, Shriners are an appendant body. There's the upper echelon is the third degree Master Mason. That's the end of it. Um, Shriners, York Rite, Scottish Rite, they are appendant bodies. Thank you for the gift membership. They are appendant bodies, but they are not the upper echelons. I mean, if you want, the upper echelon would be the Grand Master. Varmint, join Freemasonry if you want to learn these things. I never give specifics about Masonic rituals or ceremonies. You are, yes, Christ Enlightenment got a membership. I'm grateful for that. Currently, sorry, when you say currently wasn't always like that, what do you mean by wasn't always? It was always the case that there were no upper echelons in Freemasonry, right? That's not how it works. That is not true, Varmint. I've known many Christian Freemasons. I've known, oh my God, hundreds of Christian Freemasons at this point. They absolutely are able to, make their Christianity compatible with Freemasonry, because Freemasonry is not attempting to separate one from their religion or replace one's religion. It is a separate thing from, it occupies a separate space than one's religious beliefs. I mean, sure. What I'd say is make sure you're not doing anything that is, using any substances to the point that it starts to affect you negatively. But sure. I mean, so the Catholic Church does have a rule, which I believe is you're not able to take communion if you're a Freemason and a Catholic. However, I've known many Catholic Freemasons. I don't know how much that rule is actually enforced. Yeah, I know many Christians who become Freemasons. What's the point of what, Joey? Of life? That's quite the question. 33 years old or 33rd degree Mason? Being a Freemason. Every Mason has to decide that for himself. To me, though, when you ask that question, it's kind of saying, like, what is the point of going out with your friends on a Friday night? What is the point of companionship? What is the point of friendship? Right? What is the point of being part of something bigger than yourself? Human beings enjoy one another's company. I've always said, I think at its core, the belief in Freemasonry, the most basic belief, is that it's worth spending time with other people, and it's worth finding reasons and finding excuses to spend time with other people. So for me also, the point is trying to build a better world through the application of brotherly love, relief, and truth. But absolutely, it's about developing friendship and brotherhood. You could argue a very specific type of friendship, which is focused on shared experiences surrounding brotherhood. We got here. I think Masonry has helped me help the world more so than anything else. I always view Freemasonry not as what it provides to me, but what it can give to other people, or what it allows me to give to other people. I always think when you're joining anything or trying to be part of anything, the goal should be, first and foremost, what can you contribute? Scott, I know where you're from, and it's the same time for you as it is for me. What are you doing up so late? You're a night owl like I am. Welcome, Scott. Thanks for being here. I hope you'll take a moment to hit a like button, and I hope you'll be so kind as to make sure you show up March 28th, 9 a.m. at the Windsor Masonic Temple for the Community Services Fair. I think you're planning to be there, right? It's downstairs in the ballroom. I mean, I'm not a fan of the Q word. That sounds vaguely like you're putting somebody down. I don't know why exactly. You can be gay or straight and be a Freemason. Freemasonry is not political. Progressive is political, right? We have conservative Freemasons and liberal Freemasons and everything in between. Republican, Democrat, good. Free admission, just bring $2 to take advantage of the coffee club. Um, no, I'm a Canadian first and a Mason second, but I think my Freemasonry makes me a better Canadian. I know many conservative Freemasons, as well as many liberal, and I mean, with you're not allowed to talk about politics in lodge, right? Within a lodge, there's no discussion of politics or religion. So, in theory, I could, I could have on one side of me a MAGA, and on the other side of me a Kamala Harris voter, and have no idea. Well, that didn't sound that respectful. Freemasons can be political, but Freemasonry is not political. There's a difference, right? Just like Freemasons can work in law enforcement, but Freemasonry is not law enforcement, right? Or a Freemason can be religious, but Freemasonry is not religious itself. As Scott said, we don't discuss those in lodge. Now, that's not to say, look, there are Freemasons who've been politicians. There's also been Freemasons who've been plumbers and everything in between, right? Joey, Freemasons, there's no single Masonic belief. Freemasonry is not a religion. There are Christian Freemasons and Muslim Freemasons. At its core, I think you could argue that maybe what Freemasons believe is that it's worth spending time with other people. Freemasonry is inherently about gathering together and being with other people. If nothing else, that's an ethic of Freemasonry. So there's that. There are many people in lodge, I have no idea what their political views are. Before social media, honestly, for most of them, I wouldn't have no idea because we wouldn't discuss it in lodge, and after lodge, we're going to just hang out for refreshments. So it'd be very strange and weird to talk about politics with them. With social media, unfortunately, or fortunately, nowadays, I'm seeing what they're posting online, and I discover pretty quickly their political views. Um, well, I don't think the rituals are that odd, but I guess it depends on how you define them, I suppose. But when you say why the secrecy, I don't know if you have any secrets. For example, let's imagine you have a family recipe that got passed down from your great grandparents to your parents to you, going to pass it down to your kids. That's a secret family recipe. There's nothing illegal or immoral about it, but simply the shared knowledge and the shared information in that recipe bonds the family together, both the past, present, and future generations. Freemasonry is exactly the same thing. We have our rituals, and by maintaining the privacy of those rituals, we maintain the bonds of brotherhood between past, present, and future generations. Um, yes, which is a very good analogy. It's one I'm very fond of. So Biden was perhaps made a Mason on site. It's debatable whether that's a thing that can be done, but he's not a 33rd. So Scott Cooley, on the last day of his term of office, he was meeting with a bunch of community groups and charitable groups and civic groups, getting his picture taken with them. One of them was the Prince Hall Lodge of South Carolina, if I recall correctly. And the Grand Master presented him with the plaque, naming him and making him a Mason on site. There's some question as to whether it was legitimate or not. Like, he got the plaque, but whether he could be a Mason on site. So it's a contested membership. Nope, Captain Blackbird. 13 of the 39 signers of the Declaration were Freemasons. So that works out to a little bit less than 33%, about 30%. Gerald Ford was the last uncontested Freemason who was a president. Well, Skull and Bones is not a sect of Freemasonry, right? Skull and Bones is a fraternity, but it's not a sect of Freemasonry. Freemasonry, it has appendant bodies, Scottish Rite, York Rite, Shrine, Eastern Star, even youth groups, but Skull and Bones is not one of them. Well, I'm glad I showed you that the rumors are wrong. That's one of my um, favorite things about this channel is hopefully having people realize maybe what they thought about Freemasonry is incorrect. Um, Not always, Scott. You got to pick your battles. Alpha Omega, welcome. Thank you for being here. So I will be ending this stream soon because I have got a swamped weekend. I need to get some sleep. I am going to be posting on social media throughout the week, so please keep informed and keep following me on social media. Follow me on Instagram, follow me on Twitter. Like Scott, do you follow me on Instagram? Do you follow me on any of my other social media channels outside of this one? I'm grateful for you being here as well, though. Yeah, Knights of Columbus is a wonderful organization. They're basically, I don't like to use this term because they're not the same thing, but for lack of a better term, I'm going to say they're kind of a Catholic version of Freemasonry. Um, it was built by Freemasons. That is true, Captain Blackbird. Built and designed by them. Yeah, I mean, I've known a few Knights of Columbus, good people. There's a few Knights of Columbus who come on this chat every now and then. They're excellent parts of excellent parts of civic institutions. And it's really important to always remember that civic institutions are incredibly important for a healthy community. I've met some knights. I've never found them scary. But if they are being scary, then we as Freemasons need to take this as a lesson and remember the way we act reflects upon the craft. So if we're acting in a manner that's scary or just unkind or pushing people away, then that's going to affect Freemasonry as a whole. Whoa, Randy, I don't know what you're saying there, but it doesn't sound healthy. Let me give you my stuff, Scott. So Instagram at Square and Compass Promotions. So that's Instagram, Scott Cooley, at Square _ Compass Promotions. Twitter is at or X. And then I also have Facebook, but I think you do follow me there. If you could follow me on Instagram and follow me on Twitter, or X, I'd very much appreciate it. It is, talk about a dark and stormy night out. It is crazy dark and stormy out there. We don't have Grand Wizards, right? Grand Wizards, that is a separate organization and not Masonic organization at all. Well, I mean, I'm not a Christian, and I'm also not a Luciferian, so whenever I hear the term Lucifer, I just think of Satan, as in the fallen angel. But again, I'm not a Christian, so it's not as though I think of that in like an emotional sense. It's just my understanding of the Christian faith. No. Oh, okay, cool. Grand Knight and Knights of Columbus. I mean, I've known a lot of Knights of Columbus, and like I said, good people, good guys. So I've read Albert Pike's book a long time ago. Let me ask you this, though. What is the disclaimer that Albert Pike places at the start of his book, Morals and Dogma? Since everybody loves talking about morals and dogmas so much, what is the disclaimer he puts at the start of it? Any thoughts, Farman, before I let you know what it was? All right. Well, what it said is that everyone was free to agree or disagree. In fact, let me get you the exact quote. Everyone is free to agree or disagree with whatever to them seems untrue or unsound. Um, right. Everyone is entirely free to reject and dissent from whatsoever herein may seem to him to be untrue or unsound. So the reason I bring that up is to say when Albert Pike was talking about his view of Lucifer, it doesn't mean that that is a Masonic idea. That is rather his view and his idea. Scott Cooley is absolutely correct. Well, then stop running around. Don't be running around in church. Well, I don't know what to tell you. Don't run around outside. I got nothing. Hello from Wyoming. Welcome back, Thomas. Thank you for being here. Well, he didn't worship Lucifer. It gets complicated, Scott. He, he based on what I understood and what I read, he was a Christian, but he was also a Luciferian. He believed that Lucifer, the snake in the garden, was not actually the same entity as the fallen angel Satan. Rather, he was like a light bringer, like Prometheus. He brought light to mankind and brought knowledge to mankind. However, that knowledge was so bright and so great that if you did not have a, in his case, a Christian, but some type of backing outside of it, if you relied exclusively on yourself, the knowledge would be too great for you and it would blind you and it would cause you to make mistakes. So he didn't view Lucifer the snake as like an evil creature per se, more like a light bringer. But if all you relied upon was that light, it would blind you. You needed to have something backing it. And you could argue he viewed it as Jesus Christ. In other ways, you could look at it as he was arguing it should be Freemasonry, maybe. Um, I've always viewed Albert Pike as somewhat of a Luciferian. I think Chris Hodapp still says he was Christian, but he struck me as being much more Luciferian in his views. Hello, Korean. Hello, man known as JR. Once again, thank you everybody for being here. Please take a moment to hit the like button and hit the subscribe button. Thank you, Korean. I appreciate it very much. I mean, what I would say Catholicism is the best place to have these discussions is with your priest. It came up because people were talking about Albert Pike, and so we got to deal with it because Albert Pike wrote a book. I think it was like 100 and something years ago, 150 years ago, and we're still talking about it to this day. But Korean, I really appreciate that. Also, another way to help with the algorithm is to leave some chats or leave some comments on videos. That helps big time. So anybody watching this, leave some chats. I would be greatly appreciative. Well, I mean, normal Freemasons, we don't talk about religion at all, right? Within a Masonic lodge, there is no discussion of religion. Um, so we need to keep that in mind. We need to remember that. Within a lodge, there's no discussion of religion. Outside of a lodge, though, brethren can talk about it, I suppose. There's nothing stopping them. It's not really a common discussion point. Usually it's the price of gas and how it keeps going so high. Most people think I look ugly, Gogurt, so I'll take it. Hit the like and subscribe button. I'd appreciate that even more. And I don't think he was a Satanist, Thomas. He was maybe a Luciferian, definitely Christian for much of his life. Honestly, we don't practice debates, but definitely there's a public speaking element to Freemasonry. And because there's a public speaking aspect of Freemasonry, there are similarities between Freemasonry and Toastmasters. We do discuss charity quite a bit. Thank you for the heart, or thank you for the sun. That's very kind. I appreciate the sunshine. And thank you. Well, Jason, because you were kind enough for that super chat, you will get some of those coins. What you need to do is just shoot me off an email at info@squareandcompass.ca with your contact info, and I'll mail you some coins. But thank you for that. That is incredibly kind of you. And thank you for the jewels as well. Yes, right. Absolutely. A bunch of regular guys. And again, you can't discuss religion in a lodge. Now, obviously, Freemasons are human beings. Outside of lodge, it's possible for Masons to get together and shoot the poop about all sorts of different things, including darts, bowling, skeet shooting, including their religions. And I don't have anything against that per se, so long as you're being respectful in the discussion. If it becomes disrespectful, that's the concern. Yes, a Freemason did create De Molay. Frank Land. Well, his last name was Land. I think his first name was Frank. I might be getting it wrong, but his last name was Land. He created De Molay as a way to get young people engaged with Freemasonry, young boys in particular. So De Molay is a Masonic youth group. Sometimes Freemasons play sports together, just like Scott said. Back in the day, there was actually Masonic sports teams, not so much anymore. But my lodge gets together every summer and plays softball together. No, because Freemasonry is not a religion, so we wouldn't be taking communion together. We may at times go to church services together to support a brother in his faith. But communion is a religious practice. Again, though, there are sometimes Masons will attend a religious service to show respect to a brother, to his faith. Sometimes lodges or districts will organize divine services because even though it's not a religion, we want to be respectful of the religious beliefs of our brethren. Alrighty. And the cool thing, Korean, is Demolay, Ashley, and Canada started in Winnipeg, where I grew up, my hometown. So, another victory for Winnipeg. Yeah, but don't forget, Scott, Windsor Lodge does play softball every year, and I hope to do it this year as well. I don't organize it, but I'm sure it'll be a lot of fun. That's because a lot of Masons are older. That is true. All right, guys. Thank you so much. Again, coming up the next few days, it's going to be different than the normal schedule because no fight club. No fight club within Freemasonry. Let's not have any fight clubs outside of Freemasonry. I could go on to a whole tangent about why I think movies like Fight Club demonstrated the necessity of Freemasonry. And no, 14 words, wrestling, indeed. Epstein was not a Freemason. There is zero evidence he was. There's zero evidence any Freemasons visited his island. I had a whole podcast about this a while ago. Thank you so much. And thank you, everybody, for the support. I'm grateful. Just follow my social media. Follow my page. I'm going to be talking more about what I'm up to this week very soon. All right, guys. Talk to you later. No worries, Scott. Let's start with baseball, and let's start with you coming out March 28th, 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. All right, guys. I mean, there'll be Masons there earlier. There'll be Masons getting there around 8:30. So maybe I'll see you then. All right, talk to you guys later.